I've lived all over the country. I'm from here. And sometimes my attitude doesn't always go along with being in a red state. But that's okay. I mean, Limbaugh started his career in a blue state. So it's okay to be in a state where the ideology on the radio doesn't match the color of the state. Louisiana, a very red state. And so for a liberal, is it hard to live here? A guy who grew up as a conservative in Southern California, which is now a blue state, moved to Texas, a red state, because he got fed up with the liberal policies of California. He's now started a company called Conservative Move, and he's helping people move from a liberal state to a conservative state. His name is Paul Chabot. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Great to be with you and your listeners.
So, look, tell me about your move from a blue state to a red state.
Yeah, so, we were born and raised in California 43 years. California used to be a great state of Reagan and Nixon. We used to have some of the best schools, good-paying jobs, low crime, and it has turned into a national tragedy with high crime, poor schools, and low-paying jobs.
No, we don't know anything about that here in New Orleans.
Yeah, well, that's another example that I've given opportunities to communities to try to bounce back, but it does not happen when liberals are in charge. They are like a cancer to these cities, and they destroy them from the inside out. So California, to me, is the canary in the coal mine for the rest of America about what not to become. Look, I've been in law enforcement 21 years, military 16 the same time. I've got a wife and 4 young kids. And I know New Orleans well. I dated a girl out there in college, and when the Hurricane Katrina hit, I was out there as the only rep for my department in California working, the city and up in Baton Rouge. So, look, the people there are hard hit, but crime there is absolutely out of control, as they are in many big cities across this country. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look around and ask why. In California, it's an example of overregulation, high taxes, a liberal ideology that has just crushed the working class and the poor, to where you now largely have a liberal elite along the coast or the other refugees in the center that are kind of stuck, and then a big chunk like myself that decided, you know what, we've tried, we've fought here, we can't make any change, it's just too far gone, I've got kids, we need to get the hell out.
Was it better when the governor was in office?
I think there were some thoughts and some hopes that it was going to become better in California, but it really didn't turn out to be that way. Governor Schwarzenegger initially tried to put some propositions on the ballot to bring some common sense to California, and those were really good efforts. The problem is the unions came out with all their money, and they defeated all of those statewide efforts. When that happened, Schwarzenegger, I think, just tucked tail and just basically gave up. You didn't see a resemblance of a conservative or Republican governor in that office any longer.
So you're not moving just because the governor's a Democrat. You moved because you were just tired of all of the policies. In fact, sometimes the things that happen at local or statewide government have a bigger impact on us than, say, the leader of the state like the governor.
It does. And I tell folks, just drive around some of these cities that you live in. I know I'll keep going back to California because that's where I'm from, but I'm sure it's not different from other cities. We are seeing these third world country tent cities popping up all throughout California, along the riverways, the aqueducts, the city parks, and it is just becoming a normal presence in California. On top of that, the liberals have passed laws that have made it very difficult for police to arrest and DAs to prosecute. So you've got a rise not only in property crime, but violent crime as well. And then on top of that, you've got the unions in control of the schools. Our schools are now near the bottom percentile out that way, and many corporations are fleeing. So I'm out here in Texas, North Texas, and Toyota closed down their North American headquarters in California. 3,000 jobs moved from there to North Texas. So it's not just businesses that are leaving, but our company, Conservative Move, on the web at conservativemove.com, helps families also make that move.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a minute. So you have this company, conservativemove.com, and you help families who are conservative living in a blue state move to a red state.
Yeah, and it's really just a simple, process. And how this all came about is at my going-away party in California in January, we had a lot of friends over. I had just run for Congress. We won the Republican nomination, got beat by the Democrats again. Gave it the old college try and just could not make an impact. So we had a going away party, and almost to a friend, it was a comment of, gee, we wish we could go with you, or I'm jealous, or I've thought about the same thing. And then once I came out here to a red state in Texas, I realized that, well, heck, a lot of people had already left Texas long before I did. I'm no pioneer in this. You know, whether it's the person at Home Depot, the person delivering the mail, my neighbor across the street, him and I went to the same swimming hole as kids. I find this out after I move in, that people have already done this, but for the same reasons that we did. And my wife and I, we've got 4 kids, ages 10, 7, 6, and 4. We simply thought, wouldn't it be a neat idea to create a business model where we help reach out to families who feel like we do and help them sell their existing home in a liberal area, then purchase a home in a conservative region, and number 3, also help them identify work or employment. And so those are really the 3 pillars of what we do as a business.
Now, because of the name, I'm assuming you would not help a liberal family get out of a red state.
Actually, we will help anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. I will say liberals don't come to us. However, I will gladly move liberals from Texas to California if there was an opportunity.
So you're in business.
We are. This is an absolute business, and also because of our realtors and the rules and regulations that they sign on to, we've got to make sure that we're very fair and that we are not getting our folks in trouble. They will search and work with anybody, anytime, any place.
And I'm assuming that because of the money, I mean, you could have a very liberal realtor somewhere where they would be happy to move a conservative into their area because they're selling the conservative a house.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll happen. I will say the people that we do vet are our employees or our realtors. We want our realtors to espouse the values of what we do as a company, so when they talk to our clients, they can understand the issues and the concerns and really help lead them every step of the way. But there's one other critical thing I forgot to mention that's important, and we also want this country to have a larger conversation about what makes up a great community. You know, we believe it's safe streets, good paying jobs, and safe schools. It just so happens that conservative communities largely make up those regions. And so I believe that blue states down the road, maybe not in my lifetime in California, but can begin to look to red states as examples of how to bring back their communities, whether it's California or these major cities which are in red states like Dallas to New Orleans to Austin to Houston.
Paul, it's a very interesting company, conservativemove.com, helping people move from a liberal state, if they're conservative, to a conservative state, and you would help a liberal family move to a have a liberal family in a conservative state move to a liberal state. It's an interesting process. Now, this was really more about the policies that affected you and your family. It wasn't about the camaraderie of the people in the neighborhood. Like you're not rejecting the fact that there were liberals living around you. It was more about the policies.
It was the policies. You know, to be in California today, it is a very different place. I compare it to leaving a bad relationship, that California is that bad relationship, and you didn't realize how bad it was until you're out of it. You know, in California, so many people are housebroke. You got 2 parents working, fighting traffic and long commutes on a $700,000 mortgage, and they're housebroke. That's all that they can afford to do. That is their life, and they're absolutely miserable. But in California, they're tacking on an extra $100,000 by local regulations, environmental laws on the cost of new construction, which jacks up the price. California increased gas tax by 12 cents hitting this October. Another 60 to 70 cents was just passed because of cap and trade. And what the liberals don't understand is that is devastating the minority poor communities throughout that region.
All right, Paul Chabot, I appreciate you spending time with us. Good luck with your company.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.